Ich atme ein, ich atme aus. Ich atme ein, ich atme aus. Und ich schwimme
wie die Blume. Ich bin frisch
wie der Tau, ruhig und stark wie die Berge, wie die Erde, so fest. Ich bin frei, ich atme ein, ich atme aus. Ich atme ein, ich atme aus. Ich bin Wasser, das spiegelt, was wirklich ist und war. Und ganz tief in meinem Innern, da ist weiter Raum. Ich bin frei, ich bin frei, ich bin frei.
Ich habe vorher gesagt, in Plumvillage hat unser Lehrer stundenlang uns so geleitet. Trennt uns, die Mönche und Nonnen, in zwei Gruppen. Eine Gruppe singt, die andere Gruppe meditieren. Und atmen. Und jetzt stundenlang. Ja. Und jetzt, wir singen für euch und ihr atmet und ihr meditiert. Jetzt, noch einmal. Ja. 2, 3. Ich atme ein, ich atme aus. Ich atme ein, ich atme aus. Und ich blühe wie die Blume. Ich bin frisch wie der Tau, ruhig und stark wie die Berge, wie die Erde, so fest. Ich bin frei. Ich atme ein, ich atme aus. Ich atme ein, ich atme aus. Ich bin Wasser, das spiegelt, was wirklich ist und war. Und ganz tief in meinem Innern, da ist weiter Raum. Ich bin frei, ich bin frei, ich bin frei. Draußen scheint die Sonne und dann, wir möchten die Sonne zu uns einladen. Ja? Liebe Brüder, liebe Schwester, kennt ihr das Lied? Ich lade die Sonne zu mir ein. Ja, okay. Und liebe Brüder und Schwester, wir laden die Sonne zu uns ein. 2, 3. Ich lade die Sonne zu mir ein. Lass mein Leben Fülle sein. Ich nehm die Sonne in mir wahr. Ja, das ist, draußen ist die Sonne und bei uns im Körper ist auch eine Sonne. Das ist unser Herz. Und wir nehmen unseren Herzen wahr. Ja, wir suchen jetzt noch den Ton. Ich lade die Sonne zu mir ein. Lass mein Leben Fülle sein. Ich nehme die kleine Sonne wahr und dankest es dafür. Ich danke dafür. Ich lade die Sonne zu mir ein. Lass mein Leben Fülle sein. Ich nehme die kleine Sonne wahr und danke dir dafür. Ich danke dafür. Noch einmal. Wir laden die Sonne draußen in uns ein und fühlen die Wärme draußen hier in unseren Händen, in unseren Körper. Das ist die Sonne hier. Ja? 2, 3. Ich lade die Sonne zu mir ein. Lass mein Leben Fülle sein. Ich nehme die kleine Sonne wahr und danke dir dafür. Ich danke dafür. Thomas, was möchtest du heute zu dir einladen? Die Liebe, hört ihr? Wir laden die Liebe zu uns ein. 2, 3. Ich lade die Liebe zu mir ein. Lass mein Leben Fülle sein. Ich nehme die kleine Liebe wahr und danke dir dafür. Ich danke dafür. Das bedeutet, auch wenn wir eine kleine Liebe spürt, dass jemand uns die Tür hält, dass jemand uns ein Lächeln schenkt, dass jemand uns mit einem mitfühlenden Blick schenkt, das ist schon eine kleine Liebe. Und auch eine große Liebe. Das heißt, wir nehmen alles wahr. Kleine Liebe, große Liebe, nehmen wir alles wahr. Und heute, als ihr hierher gekommen seid, vielleicht unterwegs, habt ihr auch kleine und große Liebe geschenkt bekommen. Erinnert euch an die Augenblick, an diesen Augenblick. Vielleicht hat euren Partner, eure Kinder, Partnerin oder irgendjemand euch eine liebevolle Geste geschenkt. Ja? Fühle das nochmal. 2, 3. Ich lade die Liebe zu mir ein. Lass mein Leben Fülle sein. Ich nehme die kleine Liebe wahr und danke dir dafür. Ich danke dafür. Maike, was möchtest du heute zu dir einladen? Das Glück. Und kleine Glücke nehmen wir auch wahr, ja? 2, 3. Ich lade das Glück zu mir ein. Lass mein Leben Fülle sein. Ich nehme das kleine Glück wahr und danke dir dafür. Ich danke dafür. Jana, was möchtest du? Familie. Wir laden alle Familie hierher, ja? Und kleine Familie. Oh, kleine Familie. Ja, was ist jetzt kleine Familie? Was habt ihr vor? Was für eine Vorstellung? Wir laden die ganze große Familie und wir laden auch die kleine Familie zu uns ein, ja? Die nächste Liebe, nächste Familie. 2, 3. Ich lade die Familie zu mir ein. Lass mein Leben Fülle sein. Ich nehme die kleine Familie wahr und danke stets dafür. Ich danke dafür. Jetzt habe ich schon verstanden. Wir haben eine große Familie und die große Familie ist alle Menschen auf dieser Welt, in dieser Welt. Alle Wesen, Tiere, Pflanzen, Mineralien. Und die kleine Familie ist unsere leibliche Familie. Okay? Und die kleine Familie ist auch die Brüder, die Schwestern, die hier sitzen. Okay? Und wir bringen das zu unserem Herzen. 2, 3. Ich lade die Familie zu mir ein. Lass mein Leben Fülle sein. Ich nehme die kleine Familie wahr und danke stets dafür. Ich danke dafür.
Dear respected Thai, dear respected brother and sister.
Verehrte Thai, verehrte Lehrer, verehrte Brüder und Schwestern,
Welcome to our Day of Mindfulness here in EIAB.
wir möchten euch herzlich willkommen heißen in EIAB.
It is wonderful that we have a chance to be together and to practice mindfulness.
Das ist wunderschön, dass wir eine Chance haben, zusammenzukommen und miteinander zu praktizieren.
Especially during this time when we have the COVID-19.
Und besonders in diesen Zeiten, dass wir diese Covid-19-Pandemie haben.
And thank you for your courage to come and to be with us.
Wir danken euch herzlich für euren Mut, hierher zu kommen, mit uns dabei zu sein.
Yeah, and to have courage is the practice of a Bodhisattva.
Und Mut zu haben, das ist die Praxis von dem Bodhisattva.
During the war in Vietnam, there was a lot of danger.
In dem Krieg in Vietnam, es waren sehr viele Gefahren.
There was a bullet flying everywhere.
Und die Kugel fliegen überall in der Luft.
And there are many people who go out and to help to relieve the suffering of the war.
Und sehr viele Leute, die sind trotzdem nach draußen gegangen, um Menschen zu helfen, um das Leiden in dieser Zeit auf dem Land zu lindern.
And I'm very sure that there are many friends among us also are in the front line.
Und wir sind ganz sicher, das sind sehr viele von uns sind in der Frontlinie.
Yeah. There was a flood catastrophe just recently.
Es gibt neulich auch die Flutkatastrophe, die Überschwemmung.
And there are friends who came out and to help the flood victim.
Es gibt Freunde, Freundinnen, Menschen, die nach draußen kommen, um die Menschen zu helfen.
As a monk and nun here in Germany, sometimes I thought I should go out there to the flood area to help people.
Und wir als Mönche und Nonnen leben, wir haben sehr oft gesagt, wir müssen nach draußen kommen, um die Flutopfer zu helfen.
Yeah. And I think, what can we do when we go there?
Und wir haben uns auch oft gefragt, was können wir tun, wenn wir da sind, wären.
There are many organizations that help with catastrophe.
Es gibt sehr viele Organisationen, die mit in der Katastrophe helfen.
And here in Deutschland, in Germany, the conditions are so good compared to Vietnam.
Und hier in Deutschland, die Bedingungen sind so gut im Vergleich zu Vietnam.
Yeah. So I think that the best I can offer to these friends is to practice wholeheartedly.
Und wir haben gedacht, das Beste, was wir tun können, ist, wir praktizieren mit unserem Herzen, so geistig, seelisch den Menschen zu helfen.
And we offer our love and we sending our love, our compassion to those friends far away.
Und wir haben unser Mitgefühl, unsere Liebe den Menschen gesendet.
And I'm very sure that that can also be helpful.
Und wir sind sicher, das können auch helfen.
So today, in the day of mindfulness, we practice to cultivate the energy of mindfulness here in EIAB. But we are very sure that this energy can also help the world out there.
Und heute anlässlich des Tages der Achtsamkeit, wir kultivieren, wir praktizieren, die Energie des Mitgefühls zu kultivieren. Und wir sind ganz sicher, dass diese Energie wird auch den Menschen jetzt in der Welt helfen.
Yeah. Because we are all connected at energy level.
Auf der Energieniveau, auf der Energieebene, wir sind miteinander verbunden.
Yeah. Whatever we do that is peaceful, that is happy, we can contribute that energy to the world.
Was immer wir tun, wir sind glücklich, wir sind friedvoll und diese Energie könnten der Energie in der Welt beitragen.
Our monastic brother and sister will evoke the name of the Bodhisattva of great compassion.
Unsere Monastikbrüder und Schwestern, wir werden jetzt den Namen von den Bodhisattvas Avalokiteshvara anrufen.
And the chant help us to return to the source of compassion within us.
Und diese Chanting hilft uns zurück zu der Quelle des Mitgefühls in uns zu kommen.
Listening to the chants, we allow the energy of compassion to come up and to embrace our pain, our sorrow.
Wenn wir diese Chanting von dem Namen des Bodhisattva des Mitgefühls anrufen, wir lernen zu dem Source, zu der Quelle des Mitgefühls in uns zurückzukommen.
And we allow this energy of compassion to radiate out and to embrace friends who are not here, relatives who are not here.
Und diese Energie der Liebe und des Mitgefühls in unserem Herzen wird dann ausbreiten, ausdehnen und umarmen alle Freude, alle Menschen, die jetzt in diesem Moment nicht hier sind.
And embrace all the people who are in difficult time now around the world.
Und diese Energie des Mitgefühls umarmen alle Menschen, die so sehr Schwierigkeit haben, die so sehr leiden.
The friends who are sick, who are in prison.
Menschen, die erkrankt sind, Menschen, die im Gefängnis sitzen.
Friends who are on dying bed.
Menschen, die auf dem Sterbenbett liegen.
Friends who are affected by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Menschen, die infiziert sind wegen des Coronavirus.
Friends who are affected by flood catastrophe here in Germany, Belgium, Holland, as well as China.
Menschen, die gelitten sind durch diesen Flutkatastrophe in Deutschland, in Belgien, in Niederland, in Österreich, in China und überall jetzt.
And there's a lot of suffering around the world.
Und es gibt auch sehr viel Leiden in diesem Moment in der Welt.
And we are very sure that we can help.
Und wir sind ganz sicher, mit dieser Energie der Liebe und des Mitgefühls in uns, wir können mithelfen.
We will first listen to three sound of the bell. When we listen to the sound of the bell, come back to our in breath, out breath. Feel our body, relaxing our body.
Wir werden jetzt 3 Klänge der Glocke genießen. Wenn wir den Glockenklang zuhören, wir lernen unseren Körper zu entspannen, zurück zu unserem Atem zu kommen und den ganzen Körper entspannen und genießen die Vibration der Glocke. Die Sangha ist eingeladen, zu ihrem Atem zurückzukehren, sodass unsere Kollektivenergie der Achsamkeit uns zusammenführt als ein Organismus. Wir fließen gemeinsam wie ein Fluss, ohne jede Trennung. Lass die ganze Sangha atmen wie ein Körper, zuhören wie ein Körper, singen wie ein Körper und die Grenzen eines illusorischen Seins überwinden, um uns so zu befreien vom Überlegenheitskomplex, vom Minderwertigkeitskomplex und vom Leihwertigkeitskomplex. Körper, Rede und Geist in vollkommener Einheit forscht mein Herz der Klang der Glocke. Mögen alle, die diesen Klang hören, aus der Unachtsamkeit erwachen und ihre Ängste und Sorgen überwinden.
Gợi lòng theo tiếng chuông nguyện
Höre, höre. Dieser wundervolle Klang der Glocke trägt mich zurück zu meinem wahren Selbst.
lắng lòng nghe, lắng lòng nghe tiếng chuông huyền diệu đưa về nhật tâm.
Möge der Klang der Glocke weit in die Tiefe des Kosmos vordringen. Möge der Klang der Glocke selbst an dunkelsten Orten vom Lebewesen klar zu hören sein, so das Verstehen ihre Herzen erkennt und sie Geburt und Tod mühelos überwinden können.
Nguyện tiếng chuông này vang pháp giới khắp nơi ưu tối mọi loài nghe. Siêu nhiên vượt thoát vòng sanh tử, giác ngộ tâm tư một hướng về.
Beim Klang der Glocke kann ich alle meine Sorgen lassen. Mein Herz ist ruhig, mein Leiden ist vorbei. An nichts bin ich mehr gebunden. Ich lerne, meinem Leiden zuzuhören und dem Leiden der anderen. Sobald Verstehen geboren wird, wird auch Mitgefühl in mir sein.
Nghe chuông phiền não tan mây khói, lặng thân an miệng mỉm cười. Hơi thở nương chuông về chánh niệm, phương tâm hoa tuệ nở xinh tươi.
Der universelle Eingang zum wundervollen Dharma öffnet sich. Ein Kind wird im Herzen einer Blume geboren. Ein Tropfen des Dharma-Nektars reicht aus, den Frühling zu allen Bergen und Flüssen zurückzubringen.
Hiện giữa lòng đóa sen cam lộ một giọt rưỡi lên, xuân về trên khắp mọi miền núi sông. Nam mô Bồ Tát Quan Thế Âm, Nam mô Bồ Tát
gently coming back to my body and my mind. Enjoy my in-breath and my out-breath. It is so wonderful to breathe in. It is so wonderful to breathe out. Feeling my in-breath, I breathe in. Feeling my out-breath, I breathe out. Feeling my in-breath, feeling my out-breath. Feeling connected to my in-breath, I breathe in. Feeling connected to my out-breath, I breathe out. Connected to my in-breath, connected to my out-breath. allowing my in-breath to penetrate deeply into my lower abdomen. I breathe in, allowing my whole body to relax. I breathe out. In-breath, penetrate deeply into the lower abdomen. Out-breath, relaxing the whole body. Gently focusing my attention on my lower abdomen, feeling the movement of my lower abdomen, enjoying my in-breath and out-breath along with the movement of my lower abdomen. Feeling connected to my lower abdomen, feeling focused, feeling relaxed in my whole body. Allowing my energy to sink down to my lower abdomen, collecting the energy in my lower abdomen. It is so wonderful to be rooted. It is so wonderful to be collected. It's wonderful to be focused, in focus. At home, when we have more time, we can continue to sink the energy down. We can continue to collect the energy in our low abdomen and building up the collectedness, building up the focusedness, so that we can root it in our body. And this is the foundation for being rooted in our mind. For now, we will gently end our meditation. Feeling my whole body, I breathe in. Relaxing my whole body, I breathe out. Feeling my whole body, relaxing my whole body. Aware of my in-breath, I breathe in. Aware of my out-breath, I breathe out. In, out. Please massage rubbing your hand and then massage your body for a moment. So, dear respected Thai, dear respected brother and sister, we will now listen to one sound of the bell before we begin with our Dharma talk. Dear respected Thai, dear respected Thai, dear respected brother and sister, again welcome to our institute for friends who came a little bit late. We are very happy to welcome you all here today for the day of mindfulness. Today we look deeply into the practice of mindfulness, and is it possible to practice mindfulness in our daily life? Some of you might know the concept of mindfulness, but some of you might be here only for the first time. So, what is exactly mindfulness that we are talking about? What is mindfulness? In German, it's called Achsamkeit. Achsamkeit. So that means it is an act of being there, to be there. Achtung. We see these signs when there's danger. Achtung. Achtung. So mindfulness is first of all is the capacity to be present, to be there. To be present, to be present, to be there. Why is it so important to be present and to be there? If we think deeply about it, to be alive in this very moment is really a miracle. Sometimes I go back to my room, and when I'm busy, my room is not very tidy. There is a book there, there's a paper there, there is things lying around, a bit disorganized, without any structure. And if we think deeply about our life, at this very moment, there are so many things going on within us. Our respiration system has to do the work of bringing in the oxygen and releasing the carbon dioxide. Our eye receive different wave, light wave, and our brain have to process. This is Sister Songim. This is the microphone. This is a friend from a sangha, Dog Moon Sangha, Kern Sangha, and so on. And then our body senses the air. Our nose senses the fragrance in the room, and so on. There are many processes going on right now in our body, our physiology, as well as our mind. There are memory coming back from the past. For someone who's been here for many years, the day of mindfulness like this, sometime when our teacher was here, we have more than 1,200 people with the big tent over there. And on the way coming back here, memory from the past come up. And for some who are new to us, then you try to find out where is the building, where it will be the Dharma talk. So our mind is in constantly processing the information, try to have some idea, some notion, to have some feeling about things, certain emotion that coming up. There are many things going on at this very moment. So what happened when there's so many things going on? The chance that the room become disorder. The chance is that we can think of ourselves as the room with so many things going on there inside. The room can be disorder. There's a book here. There is a paper here. There is a chairs here, and so on. Things can become disorder. And this disorder in the room depends on how much disorder is. We can have a different feeling about the room. When the room is very order, very tidy, and I'm not sure, this is only my perception, that German friends are very order, very structured. And when you come into a room that is very order, very structured, I think the German friend will be very happy. But when you come into a room that is very disorder, usually perhaps you will not be very happy. The other day, a few weeks ago, our lawyer came to visit us. We just had one of our building renovated. With the help and support with love from many friends, we are able to renovate our Great Compassion Monastery. Thank you very much for supporting us during this process. Yeah, that's right. Thank you for supporting us. Yeah. And our lawyer came, and I saw him the building, and he went into the newly renovated toilet, and he showed me the fleason with these I don't know what to call it. These are little tiny things. The fleason and fugue, very beautiful, very nicely. And he pointed to me, he said that when you look at it, you know it's German. He said that in the same material, the same kind of wood, but if you are in Italy and Spain, it will be different. Because the quality of the craftsman and the quality of carefulness, structure and order, he said that is German quality. So each culture has a different idea about how the room should be arranged for us to be happy. For some culture, it's okay to be disorder. Actually, people enjoy disorder. And there's some culture that to be order is very good. So, the same thing with ourselves. There are different things going on within our body. There are different things that go on in our mind. There are so many information. There are many material processes, mental processes that's going on within us. And it will be very difficult to have a good quality of our life when things is too much in disorder. That's the key point. It's okay to have a disordered room, but when it becomes too much, then we lose the quality of the room, and we lose the freshness, the joy that being there in the room. So the same thing within ourselves. To be present, to be mindful, to be there, we help the landscape within us to be ordered. That's the key point. So to be mindful, it will help the landscape, the mental landscape, the internal landscape, the mental, internal landscape within us to be in order. Landscape to be in order. That's the point. To be mindful is to bring orderness, to bring structure, to bring in the quality of our life. When we walk, and if we walk and we don't know that we are walking, our mind are caught in different things concerning the past, concerning the future, then we don't actually walk. We don't enjoy the walking, and there's no quality of life concerning the walking. So to be mindful is to bring in the quality of our life, that we are truly living. And that is a miracle. Many of us might go through life rushing here and there, busy doing things, and one day when we are on our dying bed, look back to our life, suddenly we said, oh, I have not lived my life. I have just running around to be here and there, and I have not enjoyed my life at all. To be enjoyed is to be present, to be there. To be there for life is to enjoy life. Our teacher, Thầy, used to say that life is available only in the present moment. And if we lose the present moment, then that is a very serious thing. We are losing life. So to be mindful, to practice mindfulness, is to train ourselves to be present. When we, for example, when we lift up a chair, and we put it from one place to another place. And if we are fully there, mindful, in this act of bringing the chair from one place to one place, that gives us a lot of joy. Sometimes we bring the chair from one place to another place without any awareness, without any attention. Then what happens? We are only acting as a autopilot. Every week, the monks and the nuns have a formal lunch. And in one of the meetings, we bring the issue of bringing the chairs up. Because many brothers and sisters, when they stand up, they make a lot of noise with moving the chairs after the formal lunch. So we have the whole meeting about it. We have the whole meeting of practicing mindfulness, of lifting the chairs up and bring it in its right place. So mindfulness is not very complicated. Mindfulness is a practice that every one of us can do. It is our human capacity to be there, to be fully there. Whether we walk, whether we stand in line to wait for food, or to wait for paperwork in State House or other places, waiting for snare test, COVID-19 snare test. We can always practice being there for whatever we do. When we can be there, then something miraculous happens. Our body and our mind have the intelligence to restructure, to reorder our whole being. And when our whole being is being restructured, being reordered, there is this energy of being alive manifest within us. There is two ways of living. One way of living is to repeat our habit energy, to repeat what we have programmed from the past, through our education, through our background, through our ancestor. We live a life being programmed, being a program system, program dynamic system. That is one way of living. But there's another way of living as a human being, is that there is this quality of being alive, being joyful, being alive, being there, and you feel that you are really alive. And when we practice mindfulness, there is this quality of being alive, truly alive, come in within us. This feeling of being alive give us a feeling of being disorder, being order, being structure, being in control. Being in control. We will not be very happy when we feel that we are not being able to control our life. We can only be happy when we know that this is my life and I have a full control of it. I'm not being pulled here and there, being juggling without any sovereignty. When we are a king of a kingdom, then we have the sovereignty and we feel very happy. But when we are a king and we lose this sovereignty, then we will not be very happy. Each one of us is a king. Each one of us is a queen of our life. And when we can have this sovereignty in our hands, we feel very happy. So when we are able to be mindful, we are in control. We are in control. And when we are in control, the second thing that mindfulness brings to is that we feel whole. We feel whole, complete, not being fragmented. That is the second benefit of being mindful. We feel that our life is complete, is one whole, a unified whole, instead of being fragmented into pieces. We can have this feeling that we are here, but we do not feel that our life is complete. There's a feeling of lacking. There's a feeling of unsatisfactory that is going on within us when we are not mindful. When we are mindful, we are able to be there for life, to be fully present for life. And when we are fully present, this feeling of being whole, being there completely, transform this feeling of being unsatisfactory, this feeling of being loneliness, this feeling of being isolated, disconnected from the rest of the universe. And that's what the Buddha discovered. He discovered this beautiful energy called mindfulness that is able to transform this feeling of unsatisfactory within us. The Buddha called it dukkha. Dukkha. Dukkha is we can translate it as unsatisfactory. Unsatisfactory. We feel that something is missing in our life. We need to have something in order to be happy. We feel that our life is not complete. We have to achieve something in order for us to be fully happy. But the Buddha said that it is possible to be fully satisfied, to be fully happy in the here and the now. In this very present moment, we can be fully satisfied with our life. If you walk down the hallway, this hallway, in the front of the room called Asoka, you see a calligraphy of Thầy. You have enough. You have enough. And a friend who worked in the government, in a very high position in the government in America, he attended an auction of Thay's calligraphy. And he saw this calligraphy called "You Have Enough" a few years ago. And now, after a few years later, being in contact with life and facing perhaps some things that he need to contemplate deeply about it. So he regret that few years ago, when he attended this auction of Thầy calligraphy, he didn't purchase, he didn't buy this calligraphy called "You Have Enough." So through a friend, he asked that friend to connect us so that he can have a copy of "You Have Enough" calligraphy. It is possible to be happy regardless whatever status you are in, whatever situation you are in your life. Whether perhaps you are the president of a country, or a prime minister of a country, a chancellor of a country. If you don't feel that you have enough, perhaps you will not be very happy. You're still searching for something. So this man from America, very high official person in government. He had this realization that he need to practice. You have enough. You have enough. And when we practice mindfulness, mindfulness gives us this sense of being enough. What do we need more? We have a little bit of food that can nourish us, nourish our body. We have some air to breathe, so that we are not suffocated. We have enough some clothes that keep us warm. And we have so many conditions that make us happy. But many times we are not satisfied. We always feel that there's something for us to search after, to look after, to run after. But when you practice mindfulness to a sufficient degree, you will see, you will have this wisdom. You can be very happy whenever you are in contact with the energy of mindfulness. You feel complete, you feel whole, you feel satisfied, and you are not being fragmented. We listen to one sound of the bell, and when we listen to the sound of the bell, we return to our in-breath and out breath. It's a training, mindfulness training. We feel our body, and we relax our body, and we practice the mantra, you have enough. Sister Samgil will offer us a sound of the bell for us to practice. Our mind have the tendency to grasp after a notion, after an idea, after an image. This is a wonderful quality of the mind, to construct idea, to construct image, to construct philosophical system, to construct system of thought, to construct literature, technology. It all comes from this quality of the mind, being able to construct idea, concept, notion, image. It's a wonderful quality of human mind. We have that capacity. But you know, anything has two sides, like a coin. A coin have two sides, the front side and the back side of the coin. Our mind have this capacity to constructing things and searching for new idea, new concept. Thanks to this capacity, human culture, human language, human technology, and so on, have it developed into very high degree. But this capacity of the mind also can give us a problem for us, because we are busy chasing after our notion and our idea, and we are not able to let go of this process of chasing after something. We are always in the process of running after something. And this something is something that is created from our mind, a certain idea, a certain concept. We have a certain idea about happiness. We even have a certain idea about mindfulness. We have a notion about mindfulness, what it means to practice mindfulness. And perhaps some one of us want to chase after the practice of mindfulness. We run after the practice of mindfulness too. Mindfulness become a notion, become an idea. And this notion and idea become a goal for us to chase after, to run after. So sometimes in the Buddhist tradition, there's the teaching that reminds us to not to chase after our idea, but we learn to live the reality. Not to live with our idea, with our notion, but to live with reality, what is happening right now. So there is a teaching, sometimes it goes like this in the Diamond Sutra. To be is not to be, therefore it is to be. To be mindful is not to be mindful, therefore it is to be mindful. To be mindful, that means we just learn to live our life mindfully. We don't need to construct an idea of what it means to be mindful. Our mind is very tricky. So this process of being unsatisfactory is deeply rooted within us by the construction of our mind. To practice mindful, you just learn to be there, letting go of what it is in your mind. What it means to be mindful, what it means to be practicing mindfulness. Just learn to simply to be there, present, and don't have any idea. And you know what is the technique that is very useful for that? To letting go of your idea and to be mindful fully in the present moment is to be aware of your body. The moment that you can direct your attention to your body, then you release your mind, chasing after some idea notion. So how do you practice? You practice, you feel your body. So when we practice walking meditation, we feel our step. We feel the contact between the feet and the ground. And when we establish this contact to our feet, we release the tendency to grasp onto our mind. Or we pay attention to our lower abdomen. We feel the movement of our lower abdomen, and we gently put our focus on our lower abdomen. We feel that the abdomen is rising, the abdomen is falling, or we just simply feel the whole body. That is enough for us. After some time, we feel the body, relax the body. Amazingly, we release ourselves from any concept. So to be able to release from our concept is not to have any other concept, but it is the practice. The practice helps us to get out of this vicious loop of the mind. The practice helps us to get in touch with this present reality. And that is the practice of mindfulness. Today, when you during the day, when you move your arm, you know that you are moving your arm. For example, you can sit and you raise your arm. You're focused on your arm. You feel that you are raising your arm. And you are there completely feeling your arm. Then after some time doing that, being fully aware with your body movement, you are able to get letting go of the grasping of your mind. Then you can be fully present. Then you can feel whole, you feel complete. You are not being fragmented. You are present. You are there. You are mindful. So the Buddha give us 4 domains for us to focus our mind on. To focus our awareness on, not our mind, our awareness on. And it's called the 4 establishment of mindfulness. The 4 establishment of mindfulness. There is this sutra called the 4 establishment of mindfulness. And our teacher Thầy wrote a book on it called Transformation and Healing, I think. Is it right, Sister Wing? Yeah. The book called Transformation and Healing. The 4 establishment of mindfulness. And there's another book called Being Present or something. It is a commentary on the sutra on awareness of breathing. These are the 2 important texts for practicing mindfulness. The 4 establishment of mindfulness, the Buddha taught us to develop our awareness on our body. This is the most important practice because it helps us to get out of our mind right away. So we learn to establish our mindfulness on our body. And the second place where we can establish our mindfulness is our feeling. And then our mental activity, mental formation, and then our perception. Among all of these, usually meditation practitioner choose body or feeling is the object to develop mindfulness during the day. For mental activity and perception is during the time we practice sitting meditation, inside the sitting meditation. And it's easier to practice. But during the daily life, the 2 objects that is easiest for us to practice is the body and the feeling. For me, I choose the body. The body is easy because when we focus on the body, then we can let go of the tendency of the mind to be activated. When we feel our body movement, we feel our body posture. When we put on the rope, we know that we are putting on the rope. When we are sitting down, we know that we are sitting down. When we turn our body, we know that we are turning our body. When we walk forward, we know that we are walking forward. When we are standing, we know that we are standing. When we are lying down, we know that we are lying down. When holding a bowl, we know that we are holding a bowl. When putting a piece of food in our mouth, we know that we are putting a piece of food into our mouth. Whatever our body is doing, we follow it completely. That is the way out. That is the way out of this mental loop, this thirst for something, this unsatisfactory. If we train it for a long time enough, you can very quickly enter into this awareness of the body, very quickly. If you train yourself regularly, then within a few moments, you can letting go of the grasping of the mind right away. And you can have this feeling, you can develop this feeling of satisfactory in the here and in the now. We listen to one more sound of the bell. Learn to come back to your body. Feel your body and relax your body. So the sutra on the 4 establishment of mindfulness help to train our mind so that we can let go of the grasping of the mind. We can let go of the grasping of the mind. And to achieve these 2 points of being mindful, to be present, to be there, to feel whole, to feel complete, and not being fragmented. This sutra helps us to do that. This is the first sutra. The second sutra is the sutra on the awareness of breathing. Sutra on awareness of breathing. If you would like to develop your mindfulness, I recommend strongly that you look into this sutra, study it carefully. It can be very helpful for you. The sutra on awareness of breathing help to harmonize the energy within us and help to release the blockage, and it complement the 4 establishment of mindfulness. The 4 establishment of mindfulness trains us the capacity to be there fully so that we can let go of the grasping of the mind. But then there are the blockage in our body and in our mind that has been accumulated due to different experiences in our life. In this past retreat that we ended yesterday, Sister Bingim gave a very good Dharma talk on the trauma. And within every one of us, to a certain degree, we might experience trauma to different events of our life. And it is a sad thing to say, but you need to know also that yesterday after lunch, after the retreat, a young couple, one is a Vietnamese girl together with her friends, a German friends. I think they are in the early 20s. They came here, four people altogether. And they came and they report that they put their wallet in the car, and somehow these wallet were stolen. So they lose their bank card, their credit card, and they have to call the police. So we feel so bad for them. And it is something that many times before the retreat or in our registration paper that we send out, we ask our friend to be very careful with the valuable items, because our institute is in the middle of the city. Many times we think about having the fence around our institute, but it would be very inconvenient, and in any way our friend has to come in and out of the institute, so it's not able to prevent the outsider to come in. And many times during our big event, like summer retreat or so, we are stolen things. Like last year, our recording equipment was stolen. There are people from outside that walk by, coming in, and they just take the equipment away. So our friends, our young friend, lose their wallet, and then a lady, perhaps she left her trunk open, or perhaps she forget to lock it, or they break in, and the thing behind her trunk was taken also. And then just before I go to rest around 4 o'clock, another young man said that he left his wallet somewhere in the retreat. He doesn't remember exactly where, but could be in the room. And now he returned, he looked for his paper, and he couldn't find his wallet. Yeah. So even in a Buddhist centrum, there could be trauma, It's sad, but it happened. I call it trauma. Trauma is something that we do not expect it to happen, but it happened without our expectation. And we do not have enough time to think about it. We do not have, it happens so quickly. We don't have enough time. It happens so fast, so our body and our mind are not prepared for that event. And when our body and our mind are not prepared for such an event, then it becomes a shock to our physiology, to our mentality, and that it gives a rise to a shock and a trauma. So the Sutra on awareness of the breathing help to smooth out this trauma, smooth out the painful energy, to harmonize the block, harmonize the experience that we have gone through. Our breathing has two phases. The in-breath activate the sympathetic nerve system of our autonomic nervous system. That is the in-breath. It activates the sympathetic nerve, bringing the oxygen, and we are ready to fight or flight or respond to life. And then the out-breath activates another part of our autonomic nervous system. It's the parasympathetic nervous system. So during one in-breath and one out-breath, these two autonomic nervous systems are activated. And our breathing helps to regulate the function and activity of these two nervous systems. When we are in when we are in a shock, then these two nervous systems become disharmonized, and they are not connected to each other. they are disrupted. And in a trauma experience or in a shock, we experience something called the frozen response. Our body just become numb. Our mind become numb to protect us from further damage. So the breathing help to smooth out all of these disharmony in our body and our mind, and help to smooth out this shock and help us to open ourselves to life again. After hearing that, and I asked the young man to go and call the police, and afterward I look for him and the friend, and I went to the car, and I tried to be very mindful, to be there, fully support with my in-breath and out-breath, so that I can help him to go through this process, and invite him to practice so that he can smooth out these shock. When the young girl came to us to report that, Sister Songim said that she looked very pale. She looked very fearful and pale because her friend just lose that. And it is a terrible experience because after retreat, you had this experience. That's not a very nice experience when you come to a retreat. And Sister Samgim said that we have to do something about it. We need to protect ourselves. We need to have some form of security or something. But it's really difficult. Really difficult. It is a fact of life, and it happened to all of us. So the Sutra on awareness of breathing help to harmonize these blockage. So whenever thing happen, learn to go back to your in-breath and your out-breath. Feel your in-breath and your out-breath. Feel your body and relax your body. It helps to balance the energy within you. Because without being able to balance the energy within you, it will be very difficult to establish the mindfulness on the body or the feeling. So in the Plum-Buddhist tradition, Thầy, our teacher, he focused on the sutra on awareness of breathing. That is the first practice. Even though it's a complementary practice, to the four establishment of mindfulness, but in Plum-Buddhist, we take this as the main practice. It's the main practice, the awareness of breathing. And with this main practice, to harmonize the energy within our body and our mind, then we have a chance to practice letting go with the four establishment of mindfulness. How do we practice the Sutra on awareness of breathing? The first aspect is very simple. The exercise is very simple. Aware of my in-breath, I breathe in. Aware of my out-breath, I breathe out. That's all. Experiencing my in-breath, I breathe in. Experiencing my out-breath, I breathe out. Experiencing a long breath, I breathe in. Experiencing a long breath, I breathe out. Experiencing a short breath, I breathe in. Experiencing a short breath, I breathe out. So mainly, we learn to return to our in-breath and our out-breath. Feel our in-breath and our out-breath. Let's practice that with the sound of the bell, and I continue on for a few more moments. Sit comfortably. Feel your in-breath and your out-breath. Thank you. So, when you come back to your in breath and your out breath, then you notice something very interesting. In the Sutra on awareness of the breathing, the Buddha begins with the long breath. Experiencing a long breath, I breathe in. Experiencing a long breath, I breathe out. Then that is the first exercise. The second exercise is experiencing a short breath, I breathe in. Experiencing a short breath, I breathe out. And that is the second exercise. The third exercise is aware of my whole body, I breathe in. Feeling my whole body, I breathe out. For example, like that. And the fourth exercise is calming my whole body, I breathe in. Calming my whole body, I breathe out. The exercise is very simple like that. And when you practice, then you will notice something very interesting. Why did the Buddha begin with the long breath? Because when we first return to our in breath and our out breath, we have the tendency to use our mind to control our breathing. So naturally, we extended the breath a bit longer. We try to make this connection. We try to make this connection. We try to establish something called connection to our breathing. Connection to our breathing. And because of that, right away, our mind begin to control our breathing, and it tend to prolong or extend the breathing out. So that's why the first breathing is long breath, and the first exercise is long breath. But after you come back, slowly, the connection is being established. Then your breathing becomes regular. It becomes a short breath. And then when you come into contact with your breathing, you extend this awareness to your whole body. So it is a process. You begin with the breathing, but then you learn to radiate or to extend this awareness to your whole body, and allow the breathing to embrace your whole body and to heal the body, to calm down the block in the body. And after that, the body is being calmed down, being transformed. Today at 2:30, Sister Songim will help us with some relaxation, and she will help us to calm down the body formation. We call it the body formation, physical formation. And the practice of mindfulness, the third aspect of the practice of mindfulness, it helps us to connect to our breathing, and it helps us to connect to our life, to connect to our whole life. I had said that when we practice mindfulness, we feel whole, we feel complete, we feel not being fragmented. Then this feeling of feeling whole, feeling complete, feeling not being fragmented, extended into a feeling of being connected. That is the whole point of practicing mindfulness. We learn to connect to ourselves. And this process begins with the connect to our breathing, connect to our body, connect to our feeling, connect to our perception, connect to our mental activity. This feeling of being connected. Many times we live and we feel that we are not connected to things around us. We are not connected to our body. We are not connected to our feeling. We are not connected to our environment. We are not connected to the people around us. When we are able to practice mindfulness, we learn to connect deeply to our breathing, to our body, to our feeling, and so on, and to the environment, and to the whole cosmos. And that's the point of practicing mindfulness. It helps us to see that we are not an individual, separated individual, isolated reality, but we are deeply connected to the whole universe. With the practice, we will see that our life is other people's life. Our life is the life of the whole cosmos. And the Buddha came to this realization. He came to this deep principle of living. This deep principle of living is that is this. This is because that is. This is not because that is not. This come to be because that come to be. We are deeply connected to each other. Whatever we do, our joy, our happiness, and our suffering are deeply connected to the joy, the happiness, and the suffering of the other. When you are a mother, you know your joy and your happiness is the joy and the happiness of your daughter. And the suffering, your suffering, for sure will be transmitted to your daughter. And your daughter will suffer like you. Your daughter is your continuation. When we practice mindfulness, we develop this insight into the reality. We develop this understanding about connection. And that's the whole point of practicing mindfulness. It helps to liberate us and to see our position in the whole universe. We see that we are the universe. The universe is within us. We are not less than the universe. And this gives a deep sense of being satisfied, a deep sense of being complete, and it frees us from all kinds of suffering. We feel a lot of freedom in our heart if we realize this. We are the joy and the happiness. Our joy and our happiness is the joy and the happiness of the whole world. And our suffering is the suffering of the whole world. There is this element of collective consciousness. The other day, a friend said that she has grandchildren who now are addicted to electronic game. And she asked for advice how can her grandchildren be liberated. Many times when we are addicted to a certain activity, because we lose this deep connection. And there's a little boy and a little girl. They are trapped in this electronic game because they don't have enough capacity. They do not have enough mindfulness to have this deep connection to the whole universe. If we had this deep connection to the whole universe, we will not be caught into any kind of thirst, any kind of addiction, any kind of particular activity, because our life is the life of the whole universe. We feel very good. Our life will be very complete. So when we practice mindfulness, we will develop this sense of connection, this sense of being one. And in in the language of the Buddha, this is because that is. This is because that is. This arise because that arise. This exists because that exists. And that is the purpose of practicing mindfulness, to give us this spiritual freedom, spiritual liberation, and deep insight into life. And this insight will grow day by day. If in every moment of our life, we can be mindful into every activity of our life. Okay, so we ended here for the walk meditation, and Sister Samuel will have the sound of the bell for us to come back to ourselves, feel our body, relax our body, learn to develop this connection, this deep connection. And thank you very much for being here with us for this day of mindfulness. Thank you so much, and thank you for your deep listening. I hope that not many fall into sleep.